That work? There we go. Sorry. The computer decided to do like 9 million updates, and I was supposed to start the show like 45 minutes ago, and here we are, starting now. Sorry, it's a short show for a Friday, but beggars can't be choosers. So, GME closed above 29. Perfect. Put quite a few options of the money, not a boatload of them, but max pain was around 26.50. So we're pretty good for a Friday. If it pushed those things in the 30s, that would have been amazing. Heading into that short Christmas week next week. Elon Musk is trying to convince the government to implode on itself, and somehow the Republicans in Congress have passed bills that Elon didn't want them to pass. And Elon's raging. He's now saying he's going to fund the AfD in Germany. If you guys know what the AfD is the party that formed out of the remnants of the Nazi Party in Germany. They are very pro-Putin. So, get that to look forward to for German elections is Elon Musk spending to get a bunch of Nazis in office, because that's what he does now. Seriously. I'm going to get a bumper sticker that says Elon to Elof, and that's going to be... you can put that up in the store that I never pay attention to. So, okay. Turn the intro off because we don't need the intros on. Short show. We don't waste time today. Okay, so what's on your minds? What's happening? Tell me things. I spent most of the day at auction trying to buy a new war rig, and I got outbid by $500. I'll get one. I'm gonna get a war rig, and this summer we are going to go get rocks, and we're gonna do rocks on the show because I haven't had a working war rig in a while, and I need to get me some rocks. So, Alex Bishop first. Alex Bishop, OMG. Alex Bishop, finally. Oats with Goats. I haven't seen Oats with Goats in here in a while. Howdy, second. Dead Bass. Not sure if Alex was going for first or first, second, and third. CC is third. CC, I think you're fourth. Boris Raspy. Hey, Houston, I honestly thought DFV was coming during Power Hour. Lol. It did all right. We can bring up the graph. I don't have everything all set up here because I was trying desperately to get this show up and running while I could, and then I couldn't find my Christmas shirt, and all hell was breaking loose. So, GME chart. There we go. Man, it really tried. It was above 30 for a good chunk of the day. Chrome. Come on, Chrome. Come on. Bing. Bing. There we go. So it was above 30 for a good chunk of the day. I was like, oh man, it's gonna do it. And then right at the end, it was above 30. I was like, oh hell yeah, brother. And then boink, they got it down just below it. 29.85 is where it closed. And it's sitting at 29.92 right now. But that's okay. It's still max pain. I believe max pain may have shifted a bit, but let's do GME max pain. Max pain for today was $27.50. Okay, so we finished $2 above max pain. So they moved max pain up a little bit. But remember, January 20th is still at $20. Right? And GME options chain. Wink. As of today, so what we put in the money here? We $27.50 was max pain. We did 1500s, 5,000, 7, 12, 13, 14. So about 1.4 million shares of money. It's not terrible. It's all right. There was a boatload of after hours dark pool volume. But man, it would have been really great to put that in the money, wouldn't it? I'm sure a lot of the folks here were probably selling or exercising maybe when it did hit 30, just to get some more in there. At least I hope they were. But next week, next week, what we got going on? Next week, I'm sure these numbers are going to climb today. Probably a bunch of these got purchased. Probably 10,000 of those got purchased today. And these numbers will climb as the week goes on. So, Off the grid hero super chats. Next hydrocarbon seems quiet. McCabe must be tired. News soon? I don't know. It's Christmas. I'm not sure how much news we're gonna get with Christmas and New Year's coming up. If anything, people are probably just gonna be like, we'll tackle it in January. That's my feeling. Is that stuff's just kind of gonna be on the back burner. People are taking vacations. They're visiting family. They're spending money on Christmas gifts. So I think we won't have too much big news, especially since we're not crashing the government right now, which would be lots of news. So Elon didn't get his way on that one. He wanted to not raise the debt ceiling and not pass a budget, so the government goes into shutdown. So not only would we be in default, but we'd also put like millions of people out of work, which is perfect Christmas sentimentality. Merry Christmas! You're all fired, and you're not going to get paid, and the government's going to go in default, and the economy's going to crash. So there you go. Where were we? Well, Boris, Peachy Sunday, Ford, Mr. E Machine, can't hear you. Oh yeah, that's yeah. Brandon Wells, why is No Labs taking? I mean, they did a little share offering, teeny tiny share offering. They've done bigger share offerings in the past, and the price moves like 5 cents. This one, they did a teeny tiny share offering, and it's like down 11 cents since they offered that. Down, was that 14 last I saw? Yeah, 14 cents. Dipped as low as 13 today. That's bonkers. It's like we're at 25, basically pretty solid. They did a share offering of $300,000 and boink, just free fall, 11 cents from that high just 10 days ago, 9 days ago. That's crazy. So they should probably announce that they're done with that sale. Or else I don't think it will matter what kind of compliance they get from New York Stock Exchange if they keep dropping like that. It's kind of ridiculous how low the market cap is right now for it. It can stay at this price as long as GameStop goes knucking futs in January, and then I can buy like 4 million shares of No Labs for a pretty penny. They'll be okay with me. Then they'll be fine. It's a selfish way of looking at it, but yeah, they'll be fine with me. Oats with Goats. Houston, have you ever tried alternative sleep schedules like biphasic sleeping? I have not. My roommate Mark, my old roommate Mark, he did. So he's from England. He was here in Seattle originally, working on like a 6-week long project with a university here, and he's married. He was dating a girl at the time, and this was 2008, I think. And so he's in Seattle for 6 weeks. He's working on this project. He thought, oh, this would be a perfect time to try the Da Vinci sleep cycle. And Da Vinci sleep cycle is kind of the one that the Kramer did in Seinfeld, where he'd sleep for he'd do power naps for like 15 minutes, and then he'd be awake for 4 hours, and he'd power nap for 15 minutes and wake for 4 hours. And apparently, once you get past like the point where you are crashing after about 10 days, it works, and you sleep like an hour or two a day, and you've got 20, 25, 23, 22 hours in the day to do stuff. But if you do not get that nap at 15 minutes, that 15-minute nap after 4 hours, you will crash, and it won't be good. You will not recover. So he worked his way into that Da Vinci sleep cycle, and it was working. And he was like a month into it, and he was just accomplishing things and doing all stuff and feeling as great as ever. And he was staying in this hotel in Seattle, and his coworkers who were also out of town working the project. Hey, come down, meet us for dinner. He's like, okay. So he comes down to the hotel restaurant, and he's like, that person at the table looks a lot like my girlfriend. It turns out it was his girlfriend. She had like flown from England to surprise him because it was Leap Day. Have you ever seen that movie Leap Year where like the women can ask the men to marry them? Apparently it's actually a thing. And so she had flown from England to surprise him and ask him to marry her. And he was like, wait, what? Who? Wait, you are actually my girlfriend, not someone who just looks like her. Why are you doing it in Seattle? So, sleep deprived. He said yes. And dinner was going long, and he's like, "No, I really gotta go. I really gotta go. I really gotta go. Like, you understand? I'm about to crash." And you're like, "No, no, stay. She flew out from England." And he passed out, like literally passed out at the table, and was immovable. Like, if you don't get your 15-minute power nap, it turns into like a 12-hour long REM sleep. And he was passed out at this table, and no one could move him. He's a big dude. He's my height, probably 100 pounds more than me. And they couldn't get him out of his chair. They couldn't wake him. He was like stuck in that dining room for like 8 or 9 hours before somebody was able to finally wake him up. So meanwhile, his now fiance is like, "What the fuck?" So yeah, so I've not experienced it. He has experienced it. That's my only person I know who's ever tried it. I mean, I've gone on like lack of sleep because it's finals week type thing, but beyond that, no, I've never tried the other ones. I like sleeping. Sleeping is wonderful. It is. I like to go to bed when I feel like going to bed and waking up when I feel like it. Not waking up to an alarm is the best kind of waking up you can do. You're like, now I feel like getting up, and that's. I think that's why I look so youthful. Is that I spend so much of my life not waking up to an alarm clock, and it has saved me. And this face is not the face of your average 43-and-a-half-year-old. So, all right, monkey, you like sleeping in too. You're a sleeping dog. Cameron Mirza, dog treat, please. Well, she did get one a little earlier, but you know what? We can still piggy. Oh, I don't want you to go down there. You stay right there. You don't need to go down. There's too much mess down there. Whoa. Whoop. Ring. Eat it. There you go. All right. Crunchy pig ears. Gonna fill up the microphone. So many pig ears. Okay. So, what else we got? Michael Hero Houston, will you dress up as Luigi, the Mario character, for Halloween next year? Maybe. The powers that be are really screwing up this thing. They decided to do like this gigantic perp walk of Luigi down this pier in New York, and it ended up creating some of those badass photos, making Luigi look like the Christ, and them looking like the crowd of ghouls trying to crucify him. So yeah, it's they ruined the PR on this big time, and they're making him look like he's an absolute stud, and he is a handsome devil. I will put it out there. That man is probably one of the most handsome felons or accused felons to be given a perp walk. Remember, there's that black guy with the blue eyes, and everyone was like saw his mugshot, and they're like, damn. And then he got a modeling contract out of it. Just imagine what Luigi's gonna get. He's gonna be like, if he goes unconvicted, if they manage to acquit him, right? And they quit him because of jury nullification, whatever. And he doesn't get convicted. He is going to become like the Audie Murphy of potential criminals. They're gonna put him in movies and TV shows and modeling. He'll be selling, Calvin Klein underwear. It's If you're gonna pick someone, they should not have arrested the handsome devil. Oops. So it goes to show you, if you're gonna knock off an elite, go work out, go to the gym, get chiseled jawline, 6-pack abs, and 3% body fat, and you too will be the envy of everybody. Catalyst H, when the market crashed, how fast do you expect it to go down, and what price range S&P Dow do you think is okay to start buying in? It depends on the reason for the crash, I think. Like, if it crashes because the banks just have no more money, and the banks are just going belly up all over the place, it will drop a lot. I wouldn't doubt if it drops 50% from highs. So we'd be looking at like a SPY at around 300, somewhere around there, which I mean was that 330 2 years ago. So it's gone up way too much in recent times. When the COVID crash happened, it dropped 37% in just about a month before the government finally like just dumped money in the market and sent money to everybody. So that was kind of where the alarm bells went off, was that 37%. And I actually lost a bet. I bet a guy that the market was going to drop 50% and $10 on Twitter. I was like, oh, this market's going to drop 50% easily from this COVID. And it dropped 37% before they saved it. And I owed him $10 because I was wrong. He didn't think it was going to crash at all. So, you know, he was also kind of wrong, but technically I lost the bet. And yeah, so in 2008, 2009, let's go to Max. All right, 2008, 2009. That was 2020. There we go. So the SPY was a slow burn. October 2007, it's at 151. By June 2008, is at 127, and then it fell off its cliff down to 79. So it dropped basically 50%. It dropped basically 50% there, and the world was ending at that point. Now, the global financial crisis was like a 3.5–4% contraction in the economy, and that dropped the SPY 50%. COVID up here was at 331, and it dropped down to 253. Recent high December 2021, we got 470, and then we were down in the three somethings. I guess where we were 2022. Yeah, we're at 300. I guess it wasn't 330, but we're at 365 or so, and then it just kept climbing. It doubled since then, and we got to 600, and now we've dropped to 590 or so. But I wouldn't doubt 50%, especially with as many contagion factors we have. We've got commercial real estate market is garbage. The banks have lost $630 billion in deposits, right? The housing market has slowed to a crawl. The construction market has slowed to a crawl. Manufacturing, like people aren't buying goods at the rates they were. Tourism has slowed down. Credit card debts at like all-time highs, right? Plus, we've got entire nations that are collapsing. Germany's industrial center of Europe is collapsing. They're going to lose tooling companies, and you do not, as an economy, you do not want to lose the people who build your tools. That is something that just doesn't come back. So Germany needs to figure out some way to save their tooling industry, because 5 years from now, when you need those tools to get built again, there's no one around to do it. They'll have to come from China, which is going to be inferior. So yeah, you don't want the tooling industry to go down. England's fucked up, right? Like they destroyed their economy with Brexit, and then we have another pandemic on the way. It's looking like bird flu is probably going to mutate, become human-to-human transmissible, and by then it's going to be too late, because it's in everywhere in the natural environment. It's going to be brutal, because it's going to not just kill people, but kill their pets. We have the first human case from a bird in Louisiana looks like the guy's going to die from his chicken flock in Louisiana. It's if that version is what hits the public, 30 to 50% dead, and we aren't doing anything about it, right? So we can get a collapse on every front you can possibly imagine all at once, and that is, hopefully not society ending, but if it does all square up at the same time, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be really bad. And then we're gonna have a bunch of people in charge who won't want to bail it out because they're like, it's crashing. Excellent, right? Because that's what they want. They want us desperate. They want us so desperate. They want us to be willing to work 18-hour days, 6 days a week, just to have like a cardboard box over our heads. That's where they want us. That's the Charles Yarvin crew that is going to be running the White House via JD Vance and Elon Musk. And they want Bitcoin the center of everything. They want the US dollar worthless. And they want all of you absolutely in shambles, begging for scraps, fighting over those scraps, right? They want to be able to be like, well, I would pay you $2 an hour, but that guy's willing to do it for $1 an hour, and then have you two fight each other for it. Um, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be really, really bad. So, the price where to buy it, I'd say if it drops 50%, that's probably time to buy. That's around when the U.S. government would normally like, if we go by normal, like this is so bad, Congress is like, we can't be horrible like this, Trump. We got to do something. Um, then I would expect bailouts to start happening at around when the SPY is at 50% of its high. So the high was 600 and what? 600. I gotta go back to here. High was about 607, 607, 608. So when you see it around 300, 310, 315, somewhere in there, that's probably the time to buy up as much SPY as possible. But if Elon gets his way, meaning if Elon does cut $2 trillion out of the government, maybe more, expect the SPY to go to like 150. Because remember, global financial crisis, we contracted 4%, 3.5%, 4%. If Elon carves $2 trillion out of the federal budget, that is, well, where's my calculator? Calculator. Sorry, I didn't have it up and ready because I was okay. So go there. U.S. GDP 2023. 27.36 trillion. Okay, so all right. So we turn off the Chrome. We do 2 trillion. 2 divided by 27. And so that's 7% of the GDP right there that Elon would carve out. So things will get really bad. Really, really, really bad. 7.4% of the GDP just in cuts Elon would make. And it's not like it'd be saving anyone any money because the $2 trillion is just stuff we'd cut out of the stuff we print, right? Like it's not coming from us. It's just money that's not going to be in the economy anymore, which is really dumb because Elon's entire SpaceX is dependent upon government dollars. The only reason it exists is because there's government dollars for it. And if we slash Social Security, we slash Medicare, Medicaid, and we vaporize $2 trillion of the spending that the government does, then we'll probably crash the economy 10% from that. On top of that, if we actually start deporting the 22 million migrants, they're talking about that's another 8 to 15% of the GDP. So we could be cutting 20% or more out of the GDP. And if you contract the GDP by 20% or more, that's $5 trillion at this point. You'd be looking at a stock market that would take 10, 12 years to recover, like it did in 1929. So I guess if the crash is just from a pandemic and a housing crisis, commercial real estate bubble, 50%. If the crash is coming because they're deporting millions of migrants, they cut $2 trillion from the government and everything else added on top of that, then look at a 25% reduction in the GDP, then I'd look at the SPY at like $110 and start from there. So, yeah. Your volume is low. I'm at 45 on my TV right now. Is my volume too low? Should I turn? I don't have much further I can turn it up. I'm scared to turn it up more than that. That's up all the way, I think. Is that working? That's not doing anything. That there? Huh, that's as high as I can go on the volume. Abba dabba 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 dabba. Can't go any higher. I don't know why. It didn't update the computer and things are weird now. So I apologize if that if I hit the properties again. I go there. That's at 99. That can't go any higher. That's as high as it goes, man. I cannot get that to go any higher. Well, shit. All right, well, there you go. That's what we get. I'll just lean in the microphone and talk more into it than I normally do. Where was I? Titleist, Mr. E Machine, what is a war rig? A war rig is the truck I use to adventure. My first truck was Dentosaurus Rex. There will only be one Dentosaurus Rex and no other Dentosaurus Rexes because Dentosaurus Rex was the truck. That's the truck I almost died in. It flipped in the desert, and I didn't die. I came out of it essentially unscathed. The next truck was War Rig 1.0. Let's see if we got some War Rig pictures here. Go to. Oh. No, did that not? Yeah, crap. Does that work? Oh, there we go. Okay. Yes. Okay, let's go to how do we go to my account when I'm on here? Oh, there we go. Bam. Okay, let's see if we can scroll. I gotta scroll past lots of shiny shirt pictures. But 90% of what I post on Instagram each year is just shiny shirt pictures. Okay, gotta get to 2000. That's 2021. That is shiny shirt. Okay, we got Corvettes. We got. Okay, that's still War Rig 2. Come on, War Rig 1. Where are you? Oh, that's still War Rig 2. War Rig 1. Come on. That is Switzerland. That is. Come on. Here's monkey butt. Lots of monkey butt. Come on. Oh. Okay. Scene. Whoops. Bam. Okay, that's part of War Rig. Where's the main War Rig? Where are you? It's mostly monkey butts at this point. That's before I made a monkey butt count. Here we go. Here's the War Rig. Oh, no, that's only part of the War Rig. Where's the main War Rig? Where are you, big War Rig? Come on. Shiny shirts, monkey butts, and shiny shirts. There's the War Rig. Okay, this is War Rig 1.0. It was a 2000 F-150, lifted, 35-inch tires. Not too much fancy stuff on it. It got ready to go. Ended up getting a blown head gasket. And it still drove. It just leaked oil like crazy. The problem is with this model F-150, you can't take the engine out and you can't take the heads off without removing the entire cab. So to replace the head gaskets on this 5.4 liter was like a $9,000 job. I said, I'm not doing that. So I sold it. Some Mexican dude, he was stoked to get a big ass truck, and who knows what he did with it. That was War Rig 1. It did its job. It lasted me like 3, 4, 5 years, and I abused it thoroughly. And Monkey Butt and I had many adventures in War Rig 1. War Rig 2, oops, wrong way. War Rig 2 was a Montero. I passed Monkey Butts, War Rig 1. Where are you, Montero? This was a 2003 Montero that was like a total mom mobile. And War Rigs always get like a war sticker, War Rig. And it was a total mom mobile. This is what it was. That's what the future held for it. And it ended up being pretty badass. This is before a lot of work was getting done on it. Um, this is it. Not quite finished. Still getting there. Basically, 35-inch tires, 3-inch lift, custom bumpers front and back, 13,000-pound winch. I did fancy stuff to the hood. Gave one hell of a rattle can spray paint job. Lots of layers. She was beautiful. She was so beautiful. I had I made a Japanese rising sun, but I had a black hole sun on the other side. So I did with like spray on bed liner. So it's like a shadowed one in there. It's pretty cool. Snorkel. The works. She was a badass. I left jack mounted on the hood. She'd go through anything, and went on an adventure, and then she broke. She threw a rod. Had to get a new engine. And it cost me a fortune, as much as it would have cost for me to do that stupid head gasket on the F-150. And I was like, okay, so I got this new engine. It had a warranty in it and everything. She's looking good. It's out here in the Black Rock Desert. And on this trip, this is the trip I was making the video to make for the treasure hunt, and the new engine threw a rod. And I called the company up, like, hey, engine's broken. And they're like, it's your fault, you put enough oil in it. I'm like, I got an oil change 6 days ago. Like, we're not paying. So screw you, AAA engines of Chatham, California. You'll never get my business again. But so she's been rotting ever since. Just rotting. And my rattle can spray paint job, beautiful job on the hood, is like peeled up and it's gross now. And so I need a new war rig because I can't go out and get the rocks I want. So, I mean, the war rig adventure rig, how nice and awesome it is will probably depend upon just, how many super chats I get over time. Because I'm not going to buy a nice truck, like something that's brand new, whatever, because I'm going to beat the shit out of it. When I get into adventure mode, I am going to locations where I may get stranded and die. And the truck is going to get dents and scratches and break out windows, and you're driving through rivers, and you are beating the hell out of this thing. So it's going to be a used truck. I'm going to get it at auction, and I'm going to pay maybe $1,000, $1,500 for it at most. So it'll probably be 20 years old, and then I will badassify it. I'll put the lift on it. I'll get the skid plates, the rock slides, the snorkel, the winch, you name it. It will be a badass truck, and all in, it'll be like $6,000 total to make a truck people go whoa when I drive by. So depending on how nice it is will depend upon the super chat level I think people give me, because I will do videos on it as well, because then it becomes a giant tax write-off. And so yeah, that's the war rig. And it'll take me, once I get the truck, like, it came so close. It was an 04 F-150 FX4. It sold for $1,800, and I had $1,500. So I'll get one at auction. I'll get one somewhere. But yeah, so that's what we do. And then we'll finally be able to do rock videos. Something you guys have not had the pleasure of seeing is me out in the wild getting diamonds and gold and all that stuff, because I haven't had a truck, and I've been stuck at home doing these silly videos, talking to you from my little office, and not out on the road doing badass fun things like I want to be doing. So I'm just going to do it. I'm going to get a truck, and we're going to go do that. And so you'll get to see the rock side of Houston. Okay. So there you go, Mr. E-Machine. That's what a war rig is. Oats and Goats, I've been catching the recordings. Excellent. Antonio Baez, can you turn up your mic volume? Seriously, I don't know why the mic volume isn't working. Cran Green gifted some memberships. I just saw that. Cran Green gave Mr. Beakers one, gave D one, gave Michael Hike one, gave Alarian one, and Sold Out all got memberships there. Right on. Excellent. Thank you, Cran Green. I don't think we got any lurkers in there though. Mr. Beakers might be a lurker. I don't think I've seen Mr. Beakers pop up before. So one lurker out of that lurker fishing. Forrest Raspy, happy birthday, Houston. Thoughts on MOASS now? Can you explain why it's possible and the reason behind it so people understand what this play is about. So, MOASS is the mother of all short squeezes. It is basically the short squeeze to end short squeezes. It is the result of 30 years, 30 plus years of naked shorting by market makers and evil hedge funds. That they create shares out of thin air, they short companies, so they sell these shares that don't exist by artificially increasing the float and pushing the share price down. And their goal is to push it to zero. Because if they get the stock to go bankrupt, the stock price goes to zero, they never have to pay it back, and then they never have to pay taxes on it. So they don't have to cover or close or do anything. In 2021, we came really close to the mother of all short squeezes. Really, really close. And there was a retail investor revolt that resulted in everyone buying up GameStop and a couple other ancillary plays in this, and then refusing to sell at any price. And the stock price went up to $450. It was basically all on FOMO of people saying, oh, the stock price is still going up, I'm going to get some more. And we were at the point where margin calls were starting to go out. These hedge funds were going to have to close their positions. The stock prices go even higher. We're talking $1,000 plus. And it was a domino that was going to vaporize Apex, which is whoever does payment for order flow for. It would vaporize Citadel. It would vaporize Robinhood. It would vaporize Ally and Webull and, hosts of brokers. It would take out probably half the family funds and hedge funds in existence. And the stock price, if people really wanted to, that stock price probably could have, I bet at $1,000, everyone would be like, oh, cool, we did it. And it would have been over. But they turned off the buy button, effectively killing the price action on the stock, allowing it to finally cool down, have everybody avoid their margin calls, and the stock price settled down to $38, $40 a couple weeks later. But then it got people researching more and realizing, oh my God, they didn't close shit. This liability is still there. It's gonna explode again. And then a bunch of shills were like, no, it's over. Just sell your shares, it's all over. And then March 2021, it flew to $350 again. And they crashed it down. And then June 2021, it flew to $350 again. And they crashed it down. And then August 2021, it flew to $250. And then they crashed it down. And then November 2021, it flew to $250. And they crashed it down. And then we get to March, April, it flies to $200+ all over again, March, April 2022. And they push it back down. They have never closed out their liabilities. Meaning, they could have had this thing over with if GameStop had gone to $1,000. Everyone would have sold. They would have high-fived each other. It would have been over. Yeah, it would have wiped out hedge funds and whatnot. But they've been shorting it ever since. And they've been increasing their liability over and over and over as time goes on. Just millions, possibly billions of more fake shares created in these stocks. And so the MOASS is when they finally have to realize their losses. They've got to close their liabilities. And at this point, because everyone's so pissed off about January 2021 and the buy button being turned off and not forcing the closure of these shorts, now people are holding for crooked numbers, for phone book numbers. And if they're being forced to buy, they're being forced to buy at whatever price we name. So $1,000 will be chump change. There'll be people who will sell in that pinnacle, that peak during the squeeze, I wouldn't doubt, for 7 figures or more for single shares. Because the trading computers will be buying and closing as much as they can. That's if the government doesn't step in and force some sort of settlement agreement, blah, blah, blah. If the market is left to being an actual market based upon supply and demand, the price could go absolutely bonkers. And it will trigger, the liquidations of hedge funds and market makers and everyone else to close these positions. And the catalyst might be GameStop. The catalyst might be Bed Bath & Beyond. The catalyst might be someone else. The catalyst could be the total collapse of the Dow, right? That their blue chips are worth nothing, and compared to their liabilities, they don't have enough collateral to meet their margin requirements. But it could make long bankrupt tickers explode. stocks that were shorted 15 years ago, like Lehman Brothers, right? Like Blockbuster, like Toys R Us, etc. And that these liabilities are still on the books, but they haven't done anything about closing out the positions because, it's been bankrupt for 25 years. But if it explodes again, if they are forced to close everything because they're being liquidated, then all of a sudden there's buy pressure happening on long bankrupt stocks as the shares are being purchased so they can clear the books off everything. And you can see explosions of these zombie stocks all over the place, which is why they push so hard for the expert, what do they call it? Expert exchange, expert, where they put Blockbuster and Sears and all that stuff. Expert network, expert, I can't remember the word, I'm having a stroke apparently. So the MOASS is when they get their comeuppance. And we are buy and hold freaks. So we're buying and holding. And we're looking at how many shares we have and how rich we want to be. And if the price gets to something stupid, oh yeah, maybe we'll sell. But we've gotten something pretty stupid many times in these cycles since 2021, and we didn't sell. So we know we haven't hit our price target yet for any of us, and the hedge funds know that. They know that $350 isn't going to do it. $480 isn't going to do it. It's going to be a lot higher than that to get everybody to sell their shares and blow this thing wide open. So there's a little MOASS summary. Expert market. That's what expert. I can't think of the word market. Expert market. Okay. That was that one. Matthew Jackson. Bad day for the Germans. Surprise guy was a doctor from reports. Wait, Germans? What happened to the Germans? Am I missing something in the news? Oh, Christmas market in Germany. Oh, goodness gracious. Didn't this happen once before? Didn't they drive into a Christmas market a couple years ago? Stop doing that, people. Stop using your cars as weapons. It's no fun. No fun for anybody. D says happy Fredizzle. DL says, yay, not getting furloughed by a sociopathic billionaire. Yay. As someone whose both parents worked for different aspects of the federal government, when Newt Gingrich shut down the government in '95, that was the first time I really was aware that the government could get shut down. It was brutal. Absolutely brutal. My mom, she was an essential worker, so she was forced to work with no pay for weeks at the hospital because it's a hospital. People get sick or whatever. My dad, as an architect working for the Navy, was not deemed essential, so he had nothing to do. And it's amazing how 6 weeks of like no work and no income coming in really eats up people's cash. Like how poor you get in a hurry after 6 weeks of not working and not getting unemployment or anything like that because you're just furloughed. So yeah, it was those were some lean times. I remember that very much. Brutal, just brutal. It never gets us anywhere. All it does is it puts a bunch of people basically out of work, not making any money, and then nothing's ever fixed after that. They finally just go, oh, fine, we'll just pass the budget. And then everything's in there that was going to be in there in the first place. So that's what I have to say about that. Okay. Kelly Reed, reverse repo hit two-digit record. Things are going to be spicy. Yeah, the reverse repo is below $100 billion. Remember, it was at 2.4 trillion at its peak, 2.2 trillion, somewhere up there. We are now below $100 billion. The banks are running out of money. And I want to know what happens when the reverse repo hits zero and the banks don't have anything left in the reserves. It'll be interesting, especially since they lost the big banks alone have lost $630 billion in deposits in the last couple of years. $630 billion. The money is gone. Their assets are worthless. All those commercial bonds those banks hold, worthless. All those corporate bonds those banks hold, worthless, right? So there's no depositor money in these things right now. None. Matthew Jackson, did Credit Suisse report come out? All I've heard was reports of it coming out, but nothing about it actually being out. Let's see here. Oh no, it did come out. Okay. Swiss inquiry cascades failings of Credit Suisse oversight, but pins most of the blame on bosses. Swiss bank watchdog blundered on Credit Suisse. Report finds years of mismanagement. Swiss bank Credit Suisse collapse. Oh, it did come out. Okay. So it came out this morning, our time. Get out of the way, ad. Swiss lawmakers called for a stricter oversight of the financial sector after investigating the collapse of Credit Suisse, casting an unflattering light on authorities while pinning the blame on the bank's implosion primarily on its managers. In a long-awaited 569-page report published on Friday, lawmakers exposed lawmakers exposed Swiss bureaucracy that's unaccustomed to scrutiny, rebuking regulators for being secretive and mistrustful, and for responding at times haphazardly to the crisis that felled the bank in March of 2023. The bank fell a lot earlier than that. Arch rival UBS stepped in to buy Credit Suisse for a fraction of its value in a government-orchestrated rescue. In June 2023, Parliament took the unusual step of forming a committee to probe the official response to Credit Suisse meltdown. Interviews with those involved were held privately. The government has said it will use the findings to inform its plans to reform in the banking sector. Presenting the report, the committee said it considered years of mismanagement by Credit Suisse to be the cause of the crisis and urged the government to draw better up regulation. It is also important that we don't punish a bank performing well, such as UBS, because of a bank performing poorly, like Credit Suisse. Well, they're just gonna. There you are, just not doing your job as a regulator again. Said Thomas Matter, a committee member from the right-wing Swiss People's Party. The committee, known as PUK, chronicled in detail the chaotic final days of the bank and criticized a lack of transparency during months of crisis meetings between finance ministry officials, the central bank, and the market regulator FINMA, urging them to keep written records in future. However, PUK does not see any casual misconduct on the part of the authorities for the Credit Suisse crisis and finds they prevented a global financial crisis, it wrote. Are they going to say actually what the problem was, which was the fact naked short selling was being allowed by Bill Huang and others underneath them? Coming conclusion for yeah, they looks like the report didn't throw any specifics out there, but we all know it was Archegos sticking Credit Suisse with a whole bunch of debt from their failed short plays that took them under. And the banks that survived were the ones that margin called them first and just liquidated him. And it was the other banks that failed miserably. So they should probably put that in there. But yeah, that was one, remember, that's one family fund that took down $1 trillion bank. Not even a big family fund, kind of a medium to small family fund. $800 million. That's how big his family fund was. That's how much collateral they have, is $800 million. But they managed to have like $30 billion in liability because that 30-to-1 ratio. And they went to multiple banks promising the same collateral to multiple banks. So the failing here is that the banks weren't talking to each other and that you allow these people to have a 30-to-1 margin. It's insane. I can't have a 30-to-1 margin. I have $10,000 in my account. You're not going to give me $300,000 to go play with. No way in hell. Why are you trusting a career criminal like Huang with that? Just because he's got a family fund. Oh, he's one of us. No, it's chaos. Pure chaos. D also wants to know when Gates report coming out. Yeah, Matt Gates is now promising to come back to Congress and to stick it to all of his enemies. I hope that they got that report on back file. Some things have been leaked from it, just showing out how many times he was basically having sex with children and then paying them. But just brah. Alex Bishop says Da Vinci sleep cycle melts your brain. It's not healthy. I've never tried it because I like sleeping. I have a great time sleeping. I love it so much. I don't know why I'd want to spend only like an hour a day sleeping, because I could spend so much more time doing that, and I love it so much. Yeah. Olga is upset about no labs. They'll reverse split and get shorted more. They may reverse split. Um, what they need to do is they need to come out with lots of PR showing that they are the thing of the future, and that they're announce that they plan on doing FDA approval, and just get the news out there, pump that sucker up. Beachy Sunday Houston, when MOASS is still going to happen? If the market collapses, or if GameStop goes nuts, there you go. Or Bed Bath & Beyond comes alive, etc. That's when it will happen. Until then, we are just circle jerking. Brandon Wells, any chance No Labs goes bankrupt? No, they got money. They're not going bankrupt. Lucas Speed says reverse repo at 98 billion. Lucas Speed also says BBBY might as well wait until January so we have all year to figure out taxes and financial planning. Yeah, if they do this thing like December 30th, fuck you. Like, I can't set up a foundation or do my charity stuff in a day when everything's closed because it's New Year's Eve. Yeah, so January at the earliest probably now. Citizen 54, the Luigi riots will kill the economy. Also, how feasible is a space elevator? It seems like it would be targeted by terrorists. F you, Elon, America, Cruz. A space elevator, scientifically, I think it can be done. If you don't know what a space elevator is, let's bring up Yield Google Earth, because it's always nice to show an Earth while talking about the Earth. Go there, turn on the Google Earth. Okay, so here's our Earth. It is a ball. Ta-da! We have what are called geosynchronous orbit, where if you go above the equator, which is through Ecuador here, goes through here. If you go 30,000 miles out, the amount of time it takes for something to orbit the Earth 30,000 miles out is exactly 1 day. So the satellite will remain over a single spot on the Earth as the Earth rotates. So there'd be a satellite, say, straight up here from Ecuador, coming straight out of the monitor here. And imagine as the Earth rotates, that satellite stays 30,000 miles out over the same spot. So if we were to have an anchor on the equator and a second anchor 30,000 miles out, 30,000 miles out in space, way out here, further out than that, way beyond my screen, just further. And you take some lightweight nanotube ribbon or something and you dangle it between the two of them, you can have things pinch that ribbon and climb up and down without having to launch stuff via rockets, which is very expensive and costs a lot of fuel. And the rockets are dangerous. You just have this thing climbing up and down this ribbon, days, weeks at a time, delivering goods, taking stuff in. With the physics, I do think it's possible. That being said, you anchor this thing, say, along the equator in Ecuador or maybe offshore or something, and you have some terrorist who wants to blow the thing up or go out there with a bunch of hedge trimmers and cut the big giant ribbons, I'm not sure what would stop it. Or if a plane flies into it or something. That enough of a wobble could probably pull down whatever you got up there. So, yeah, it would definitely be a target. But if we didn't have a society full of a bunch of assholes, it'd be really cool. So, yeah, and you could put up several of them. You could have a space elevator in Ecuador, you have a space elevator in Brazil, you have a space elevator in Equatorial Guinea, you have a space elevator in Somalia if they didn't keep trying to kill each other. Space elevator in Indonesia, you could have them all across the world, multiples of them, taking stuff up, taking stuff down. If we start mining asteroids and we want to bring lots of heavy materials to Earth, a space elevator is probably a great way to do it, because using a rocket try to slow that stuff down is just way too much work. So yeah, I think it's awesome. But I also know, like you, society is doomed, and people are just going to kill each other. Alex Bishop, look up Ad Astra space elevator and antenna. So Ad Astra is wanting to do one. Oops. Help if I don't accidentally put a Q in the middle of Ad Astra. So Ad Astra. Oh, from the movie, that one. That one was way too close to Earth. The one, this thing here, uh, like, oops, that's still Google Earth. Yeah, this guy, this guy, this is from the movie Ad Astra. Um, the space elevator would be a lot longer than this. This is like low Earth orbit. This is like where the space station is, and the space station would keep going and then just rip whatever this is. The only way you can make this happen is probably if you made some sort of track at the equator, so this thing just went flying around on the track. But then that would be flying around like 17,000 miles an hour and burn up all the bearings, and then the ribbon itself would burn up in the atmosphere. So you need a lot further away. Yeah, a lot further away. D says, take bird flu seriously, y'all. Yes. No half-assing it. If and when bird flu becomes human transmissible, people start going down with it, you will be locking yourself in your home until a vaccine becomes available. And if you're like, I'm not going to get a vaccine, you will have a 30 to 50% chance of dying. Take it very, 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 very serious. This is the level of death and destruction that white people brought to the Americas with all their novel viruses that killed 90% of the population in the Americas. That's like, COVID was child's play compared to the potentiality of bird flu. So you're gonna want to get vaccinated, and the people working on the bird flu, they're gonna be in their own like little bubbles, because you have an expert who's working on the bird flu and they get bird flu and die. Well, then you lose the expertise, and then you have somebody else who has to figure out what they were doing, come in and try to make the vaccine. We will lose so many people, so much information will disappear, and knowledge and know-how and expertise. It will be bad, really, really bad. We have not been faced with a level of death like this probably since the Middle Ages and the bubonic plague, where like 30% of Europe died, and entire like barons and dukes and nobility died, and people just kind of moved into their house and became barons and dukes. That was a massive upheaval of society. So take it very seriously. If you start seeing that there's human transmission, you're going to want months of food in your house. You're going to want to have little victory gardens out there getting your vegetables, because you aren't going to want to talk to people or see them. Like the poor Amazon drivers, they're going to be dropping like flies. Your stuff's not going to get delivered. So the way we kind of counted on some like lower class at the bottom being sort of the essential workers, those people are going to die, and there won't be any workers. Then what? Right? If like, oh, you've got 20 people still working in the grocery store, and then 6 of them die. Then what? Where is your food going to come from? Yeah, bird flu has potentiality to be super duper gnarly. Like the stuff that they put in sci-fi films type gnarly about like the post-apocalypse after the plague, that type of thing. BW Brand, wow, bird flu did a thing before 2025. We're speedrunning our demise. Yep. What's the ivermectin crowd going to do? Die. BW Brand, where market's down again today. Keeping that record losing streak. I think it went up a little bit today. I think it went up. I think it was at like 87 and went up to 91, I think. Yeah, it was up today. It started at about 581, finished at 590. Peaked over 595 briefly. Yeah, so it was technically green today. So the streak is over. You ran. I remember the shirt. Well, it's Christmas, of course. D says, I really want to hope that having GME and BBYQ will help us not be destroyed. Will it? That's the idea. I mean, that's the theory, right? Is that if all the good stocks go down, all the meme stocks go up, because that's where the collateral versus the liability is. And so the negative beta kicks in hard, and we get a Volkswagen 2008 situation, or better, preferably better. So yeah, that's the idea at any rate. Choose Miami with that shirt. Houston just needs a gong behind him. Come on, the shirt's marvelous. Look at that. It's got like space alien snowmen and like nuclear trees, and it's violently Christmas is what it is. All right. Speakers, Jimmy can do some great things in 2025. I think January 2025 has potentiality to be crazy. If we get the normies talking about it again on social media like they were in 2021, then the FOMO is going to kick in all over again. Vecchio. Social Security can be fixed, increase the match tax from 7.65% to 8%, and stop the cap. Let those make over $200,000 pay in, and 2 years over the next 5 retirement age, done. It can be fixed, and it should be fixed, but the people we elected don't want to fix it, they want to vaporize it. So, then what? People don't understand how Social Security works. Social Security is a slow and steady wins the race. Yes, if you take that money and you put it into the SPY or whatever, yeah, you will probably gajillions of dollars. But at the same time, you can lose all of it and everyone dies. What Social Security does is the U.S. government has debt, right? The U.S. government spends more money than they make. And most of who buys that debt is the Social Security Administration. They take all of your Social Security money and they buy up all the U.S. government debt, and they sit on that, earning 2 to 5% a year, year over year, paying out the folks who are retiring, right? Slow and steady. It's guaranteeing them an income of some kind over that time. Now, you destroy Social Security, you destroy 50% of who owns bonds, government bonds. Then who's going to buy them? If you don't have guaranteed buying of Federal Reserve bonds, these government bonds, who's going to buy them? It'll make the U.S. Treasury bonds worthless, absolutely worthless. So, okay, now the U.S. government collapses because they can't find anyone to buy their bonds, and now they're instead they can't, rather than selling bonds to pay for everything, they're just going to print money, which is going to devalue the U.S. dollar. They're going to flood cash in the market, diluting the float of how much cash is out there, and that's exactly what they want. So they don't want to fix Social Security. They want to vaporize it to help destroy the entire economy, because they want Bitcoin in charge, and they want a monarchy run by a whole bunch of tech bros, the broligarchy. That's what we're going to get. Oh, crap, it's time to go. I got to leave. Everybody, sorry for the short show. I'll probably do, I was supposed to do GeoGuessr the other night, and then I spent too much time hanging out with my mom. I didn't do one. So maybe I'll do a late night GeoGuessr tonight. That's like a plan? Yeah, monkey? Sound good? All right. GeoGuessr late tonight. I'll see you for that. And then otherwise, I'll see you on Monday. Okay. Bye.